You're over 65. These 5 foods are secretly aging you faster. Stop now. Have you ever looked in the mirror one morning and thought, why do I feel 10 years older than I did just yesterday? You slept fine. You didn't do anything particularly exhausting the day before, and yet your joints ache, your energy's low, and you just don't feel like yourself. It's frustrating, isn't it? A lot of people chalk it up to just getting older, but here's something most folks over 65 don't realize. What you're eating might be speeding up that aging process more than anything else. Not in a dramatic Hollywood way, but quietly, slowly. Day after day, certain foods are putting extra pressure on your heart, your joints, your brain, and even your skin. Now, let's be clear, this isn't about giving up everything you love. It's about awareness. Once you know which foods are quietly wearing you down, you can start making better choices that actually add to your energy, your health, and your quality of life. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 everyday foods that many seniors still eat without realizing how damaging they can be. These are the foods that can increase inflammation, drain your energy, cloud your memory, and accelerate the aging process. But the good news, with a few small changes, you can start to feel better, think clearer, and even look more vibrant. So let's start with one that's hiding in plain sight. Refined white bread. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You've had toast with your eggs for decades, a sandwich for lunch, maybe a biscuit with dinner. It's just bread, right? But here's what's happening inside your body every time you eat that fluffy, white slice. Your blood sugar spikes. And after 65, those spikes hit harder. Your body becomes more sensitive to changes in glucose levels. What used to be a minor dip in energy becomes a wave of exhaustion. What used to be a little afternoon crash now leaves you groggy, foggy, or even irritable. Refined white bread is stripped of fiber, nutrients, and anything that would slow down digestion. So instead of giving you steady energy, it burns through you fast, leaving you tired, inflamed, and often hungrier than before. And over time, that repeated inflammation starts affecting more than just your energy. It impacts your joints, your skin, and even your brain. There was a man I spoke with once. His name was Don. He was 72 and sharp as a tack, but he started noticing that after lunch, he'd crash hard, couldn't focus, felt heavy, sluggish. All he was eating was a turkey sandwich. But once he swapped out the white bread for a whole grain variety with real fiber and nutrients, that afternoon crash, gone. Just like that. Sometimes it's the simplest changes that make the biggest difference. Let's move to the second food, and this one surprises people. Processed deli meats. Ham, salami, bologna, turkey slices. The stuff you grab for a quick sandwich or snack. They're convenient, sure, but they're also packed with sodium, preservatives, and something called nitrates. These additives help preserve the meat, give it that pink color, and extend shelf life. But inside your body, they're doing the opposite of preserving your health. Nitrates have been linked to increased inflammation and oxidative stress. That's just a fancy way of saying they speed up the aging process inside your cells. And when inflammation becomes chronic, it doesn't just make your knees ache or your hands stiff. It increases your risk of heart disease, diabetes, and even certain cancers. And let's not forget the sodium. After 65, your kidneys aren't as efficient as they used to be. Too much salt can lead to higher blood pressure, fluid retention, and extra stress on your heart. You might notice swelling in your ankles, puffiness in your face, or even disrupted sleep, and not even realize your lunch meat is part of the problem. There's a woman I knew, Linda. She loved her ham and cheese sandwich every day for lunch. Never thought twice about it. But she started getting headaches, feeling bloated, and had trouble sleeping. When her doctor asked about her sodium intake, she realized her daily simple lunch was packing over half her day's limit. Once she swapped the deli meats for grilled chicken or tuna packed in water, things changed. The swelling went down. The headaches stopped. She slept better. Just one swap, and her whole body felt the difference. Now, before we move forward, I want you to take a moment. Think about the foods that are part of your routine, what you grab without thinking. Because sometimes the things we're most used to are the ones doing the most silent harm. We don't need to overhaul everything overnight. You've already lived through decades of change. But if something in your daily meals is making your body work harder than it needs to, well, now's the time to ease that burden. Your body deserves a break. And you deserve to feel good, not just okay, but truly good, in your own skin every single day. Now that we've looked at how white bread and deli meats might be aging you faster than you realize, let's keep this momentum going. Because the next food on our list, it's one that almost everyone has in their kitchen, but very few people over 65 realize how much damage it's doing. Let's keep going. We've already talked about white bread and deli meats, two foods that might seem harmless, but can quietly rob you of energy, increase inflammation, and even affect your memory. Now let's talk about something almost everyone has sitting in their kitchen right now, vegetable oils. I know that one might sound surprising. You see, for years we were told that vegetable oils, things like corn oil, soybean oil, and canola oil, were a healthy alternative to butter. They were marketed as heart smart and cholesterol lowering. But here's what we now know. These oils are high in something called omega-6 fatty acids. While omega-6s aren't inherently bad, the problem comes when they're out of balance with omega-3s, the kind found in foods like salmon, flax seeds, and walnuts. Most people, especially those who eat a standard American diet, are getting way too many omega-6s and not nearly enough omega-3s. And that imbalance leads to, you guessed it, chronic inflammation. And if there's one word you should pay attention to when it comes to aging well, it's inflammation. Inflammation is sneaky. You don't always see it or feel it, but it shows up in so many ways. Stiff joints in the morning, slower recovery from exercise or activity, a foggy brain, dry skin, even trouble sleeping. And the oils you cook with every day could be contributing to all of that. I met a retired mechanic named Ray who swore by his skillet. He cooked everything in canola oil. Eggs, vegetables, meat. It was what he was used to, but he also dealt with aching hands, tight knees, and felt like his brain just wasn't as quick as it used to be. His doctor didn't find anything major, so Ray started looking into his diet. Once he switched from canola to olive oil and avocado oil, his body started responding. Within a few weeks, he said his mornings didn't feel like such a struggle anymore. It's not about being perfect. It's about giving your body the right kind of fuel. Think about it like this. If you've got a classic car, you don't fill it with the cheapest gas you can find. You give it what it needs to run smooth. Your body's no different. And that brings us to another fuel source that might be dragging you down more than lifting you up. Sugary snacks and drinks. Now I know sugar is a comfort food. It reminds us of holidays, celebrations, family gatherings. And I'm not saying you can never enjoy a slice of cake again, but here's the truth. After 65, your body doesn't handle sugar the way it used to. Even small amounts of added sugar can spike your blood sugar, strain your pancreas, and lead to a crash that leaves you tired, irritable, or craving more. But the long-term effects are even more concerning. Excess sugar has been linked to faster cognitive decline, weaker immune function, and increased risk of type 2 diabetes. And yes, it can absolutely age your skin, too. And here's the trick. Sugar isn't just in the obvious things like cookies and soda. It's hiding in salad dressings, canned soup, granola bars, flavored yogurts, even so-called healthy snacks marketed to older adults. That's why reading labels becomes so important. I remember talking to a woman named Diane who said she didn't eat much sugar. She skipped dessert most nights and didn't drink soda. But she was still dealing with constant fatigue and unexplained weight gain. When she started checking labels, she was shocked to find added sugars in her morning yogurt, her crackers, even her low-fat peanut butter. She started switching to whole foods, things with ingredients she could pronounce. And guess what? Her energy came back. Her skin looked better. She even said she felt clearer mentally, like a fog had lifted. And that's what sugar does. It gives you a quick hit, sure, but it takes more than it gives. And when your body is already working harder to stay strong and sharp as you age, sugar just adds extra weight to carry. So think about the small choices. Swapping sweetened yogurt for plain Greek yogurt with fresh berries. Replacing sugary cereal with oats. Skipping the soda for infused water or herbal tea. You're not just eating differently, you're treating your body with the kind of respect it's earned. Let's pause for a moment here. This isn't about shame. It's not about guilt. It's about empowerment. Because when you start paying attention to the foods that are secretly dragging you down, you start taking control. And the difference isn't just physical, it's emotional too. You feel stronger, more alert, more in tune with your body and how it responds to what you put in it. So far, we've talked about the damage caused by white bread, processed meats, certain vegetable oils, and added sugars. And if that feels like a lot, take a breath. You don't have to fix everything overnight. Start with one small shift, just one. Maybe it's using olive oil instead of canola. Maybe it's replacing that sweet drink with lemon water. It all adds up. Now we've got one more food to talk about, and this one's tricky because for many people over 65, it's part of their daily comfort routine, but it could be doing more harm than good. Let's talk about one more food that's quietly making aging harder, especially after 65. And this one might surprise you, your nightly glass of wine or occasional cocktail. Now, before we go any further, let me say this. I'm not here to ruin your enjoyment. Many people over 60 enjoy a glass of wine with dinner or a little something to unwind in the evening. It feels social. It feels comforting. And in small amounts for some people, it may not cause much trouble. But here's what you might not know. Your body processes alcohol very differently after 65 than it did in your younger years. Your liver slows down. Your tolerance changes. And even just one drink can affect your sleep, your brain, your balance, and your energy levels in ways that didn't happen before. There's a man I met once, 68 or something, 58 years old. He wasn't what anyone would call a heavy drinker. 1 or 2 beers in the evening, sometimes a glass of scotch on the weekend. But over time, he started noticing changes, poor sleep, more frequent bathroom trips at night, and that his mornings always felt foggy. He assumed it was aging until he cut out alcohol for a week, just 1 week. The difference was like night and day. He said, I had no idea how much it was dragging me down. That's the thing. Alcohol isn't just about what happens in the moment. It lingers. It messes with your REM sleep, which is when your brain does its deepest restoration work. It dehydrates you, which affects your skin, your joints, and your digestion. It increases inflammation, and it can interfere with medications too, something many folks don't realize until it's too late. And for seniors, where falls are already a major concern, alcohol's effect on balance, coordination, and reaction time becomes even more dangerous. A stumble in your 30s is inconvenient. A stumble in your 70s can mean a broken hip, a hospital stay, and a long recovery that doesn't always bring you back to where you were. I'm not saying you have to quit cold turkey unless your doctor says so, but it's worth asking yourself, how do I feel the next morning? Am I really enjoying it, or is it just a habit? Sometimes replacing that nightly drink with a calming tea, a flavored sparkling water, or even a relaxing evening ritual like reading or light stretching can give you the same comfort without the side effects. You see, so many of the foods and drinks we've talked about today aren't dangerous in an obvious, dramatic way. They're not instantly toxic. They're not going to knock you out in a single sitting. That's what makes them tricky. They wear you down slowly, over weeks, months, and years, until one day you look around and wonder where your strength, your energy, your clarity went. But the powerful thing is, once you become aware, once you start seeing those patterns, you can shift them. You can take back control, one decision at a time, and that's where real vitality lives. Let's take a moment to reflect. We've talked about 5 foods, and maybe you saw 1 or 2 that are regulars in your own kitchen. That's okay. This isn't about feeling bad for what's in your fridge or pantry right now. It's about deciding what you want from this chapter of your life. More energy, less pain, sharper memory, more joy in everyday living. It starts with what you feed yourself, not just food, but the beliefs you carry. The belief that you're too old to change, toss it out. The belief that feeling tired all the time is just normal, challenge it. You deserve better than just getting by. You deserve to feel good in your body, to wake up with energy, to move through your day with confidence and clarity. I want you to think about something. If your body is your home and you've lived in it for over 60 years, don't you want to take the best care of it now? not to extend life at any cost, but to enhance it, so that every moment you get is one you can feel, really feel, with presence, strength, and purpose. You've done the hard work. You've raised families, worked on, supported others. Now is the time to support yourself, to nourish your body in a way that honors all that it's carried you through. And the beautiful thing, it's never too late to start. Maybe tomorrow morning, you'll swap out the toast for a bowl of oats. Maybe at lunch, you'll skip the deli meat and use grilled chicken instead. Maybe at dinner, you'll pour a glass of sparkling water with a splash of lemon instead of that glass of wine. And maybe, just maybe, you'll wake up the next day feeling a little clearer, a little lighter, a little more you. That's what this is about. Not diets, not restrictions, not fear, just awareness, just kindness to your body, just simple, powerful choices that add up over time. If this video helped you see something in a new way, let us know in the comments. Have you made a food swap recently that made a difference in how you feel? Share your story. It might help someone else who's been feeling exactly the way you were. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us keep creating content that informs, encourages, and inspires. Thank you for spending this time with me. Remember, aging doesn't have to mean decline. With the right habits, the right fuel, and the right mindset, it can mean freedom, energy, and joy. Here's to nourishing yourself and living your best life at any age.